Hello and welcome to Route 99. This is DPM 102. We're solving an RC today. The passage goes like this. The term class war is used by people on both the right and the left of the political spectrum. In general, the term relates to the political and economic conflict between different socio-economic classes over things such as the distribution of wealth and whether or not government policy should be implemented to reduce inequalities of wealth. So, class war is used by both right wing and left wing people. What is the meaning of this term? This is a political and economic conflict between different socio-economic classes over things like distribution of wealth, whether a policy should be implemented or not, right? So that is called class war, a conflict between two different socio-economic classes. Typically, the term is used to describe conflict between haves and have-not that work themselves out in some regulated judicial manner, such as in elections to the government of various political parties. So, in a general term, it could be described as a conflict between the people who have something and the people who does not have something, right? It could be used for rich and poor people as well. Have the rich people, have nots are the poor people, right? And this conflict is somehow worked out by a in a regulated judicial manner, right? Such is the case when revolutionary situations. Okay, sometimes, however, actual violent conflict between different socio-economic classes may break out. So, in most of the cases, it is solved in judicial manner, right? There's a conflict, but the conflict is non-violent. But in some cases, there has to be a violent conflict. Such is the case when revolutionary situations bring about significant transformation in a society's socio-economic structure, particularly with regard to the distribution of its wealth. And in these revolutionary situations, a transformation in society's socio-economic structure is being brought upon, right? Is brought upon. Majorly related to distribution of its wealth. Adopting the language of military conflict, political scientist James Scott in his 1985 book Weapons of the Weak, distinguished between what he called the small arms fire and the big guns of class conflict. So he's using the analogies, the jargon of a military conflict, right, to explain this socio to explain class conflict, he's using the military conflict language. For Scott, examples of small arm fire include workers deliberately being late for work, stealing from their employers, and intentionally ruining the product of their labor. Example: sewing the wrong color buttons on shirt in case of garment workers. So this is an act. This is a small arm act. Like what they are trying to explain is this is some form of resistance. This is an act of showing resistance. So small arm fire resistance is a resistance on a smaller level. It could be employees not doing their work properly. That could act as a symbol of resistance. Rather than simply being examples of antisocial behavior, Scott saw these activities as always for workers to come to terms with their alienation in the workplace and to wrest some control of the labor processes away from the employer or the landlord. So generally, this is considered to be antisocial behavior, right? Not doing work properly, coming late. That is called antisocial behavior. But Scott saw something different with it. What did Scott saw? That maybe this is a form of resistance. Maybe this is to come to terms with their alienation in the workplace. If they are being made feel alien, isolated, alone, or maybe it is to wrest some control of the labor processes from the employer. Maybe their employer has a lot of control over them, right? To balance the scale, maybe they do it. In the case of Peace and Farmer, the subject of Scott's book, the big gun of employer or landlord in case of Peace and Farmers. The big guns of class conflict, Scott suggested, are activities such as striking and fostering political evolution. So these are small acts, small guns. Big guns is big class conflict, like striking and fostering political revolution, right? Rhetorically, political parties on the left often have used the term class war to describe how the powerful in society exploit less powerful, and how, in turn, the less powerful should organize themselves to improve their position. So, political parties who are left, who are left, who are liberal in the sense, or the left spectrum, describe class war as a way to exploit, way for. So author here is explaining how class war can be a way for poor people to collect themselves and to fight against the exploitation of the more powerful on the less powerful people. In such a discourse, it is argued the less powerful are victim of a class war waged against them by those in position of economic and political power. Therefore, their actions are defensive. So, in such a discourse, in such a fight, it is considered that it is the more powerful people that wage the war, and less powerful people are the victim of the war, and they're just trying to defend themselves, designed to limit their own exploitation, just to limit their own exploitation. Frequently, however, those on the political right argue that any effort to bring about wealth redistribution are simply examples of class envy and are attempts by the poor or leftist politicians to wage class war against the wealthy. But most the people on the right part of the spectrum, people who are rightist, people from the rightist political ideology, they say that this is just class envy. ये सिर्फ जलन है अमीर लोगों की तरफ to sort wealth redistribution. This is a class war against the wealthy people. For such commentators, unequal distribution of wealth are seen either as natural or as the reward for individual sacrifices and hard work. For those people, it is seen as an individual sacrifice, or it is this unequal distribution is seen as some individual sacrifice and hard work. Like he must have worked hard to gain this wealth, and now poor people are just envious of it, and that is why they are waging a class war against them to get that wealth. That is, for many on the political right, the cause of poverty are seen as the result of personal failings of the poor rather than the operation of the structural forces such as institutionalized racism, or the ways in which unregulated market operate in a capitalist society. So for these people, for the advocates of the ideology that poor people are poor because of their failing rather than this institutionalized racism or unregulated market, right? None of that is responsible. And the individual itself is responsible. Many leftists counter that in decrying the class war rhetoric of the left. Those on the political right are themselves, in fact, engaging precisely in class war by seeking to defend the social status quo. Right. So when the right people on the right political spectrum are defending themselves by saying so and so, they themselves are engaging in a war, right, to preserve their status quo. Moving on to the questions. Which one of the following statement would be an accurate inference from the example of James Scott's weapons of the week? Okay. Accurate inference. An employee's lack of sincerity is the sole indication of his antisocial behavior? No. James Scott's book was saying just the opposite of it. It is not an indication of his antisocial behavior, but it could be a form of resistance. James Scott's book is considered to be a seminal work on Marxian literature. Seminal work on Marxian literature using heavy words to confuse us. This is also not my answer. An employee's lack of sincerity may be an indication of his isolation in the workplace. Yes, this is a rephrased version of the argument made in the passage. In the passage, they say that it is an alienation, which means the same thing as isolation. So this could be an inference. This is my answer. An employee's lack of sincerity may be an indication of his political stance. How come? No, it cannot be an indication of his political stance. That would be too far-fetched of an assumption, considering that just because he is not working properly, maybe he is waging a class war, and that is why he is a leftist. So you see that there are a lot of assumptions. So although this could be true, but this is a very far-fetched assumption. This is based on various assumptions. So this is also not my answer. Which one of the following statement best reflect the main argument of the second paragraph of the passage? Okay, what was the second paragraph? This one, which explained the stance of people on class war. Left-leaning parties believe that socially powerful hegemonize the weaker section of the society. One part of it, yes, left believe that, right? But what about right? It also talk about right. This could not be the main argument of the passage until it talks about both the sides of the party. There are fundamental differences of opinion with respect to class wars between left and right-leaning parties. Yes, this talks about everything. This talks about the central idea of the passage, what the second paragraph was for. That this was to show the difference of opinion with respect to class wars between left and right-leaning parties. This seems like the answer. The left and right-leaning parties have the same perception regarding. Do they have the same perception regarding the unequal distribution of wealth? Right believe that people are responsible for their plight and the wealth distribution is justifiable. Left believe just the opposite. It believes in the equal distribution of the wealth in the society. So of course they don't have the same perception regarding it. Not my answer. The right-leaning parties believe that poor should revolt against the oppressive force of the society. Okay, could be it, could not be it, but this is again not the main argument of the passage. Right people, this is also a faulty argument. The right people does not believe that poor people should revolt against the society. They on the other hand say that they are responsible for their plight. That is their personal feeling. So this is a wrong argument and this is not even the main argument of the passage. So second is my correct option. Which one of the following statement, if true, could be inferred as a supporting argument of the political right? Supporting argument for the political right. What does politically right say? That wealth distribution is okay in the society. People are poor because of their personal failing. Right. That is the opinion of politically right. Poverty is in most cases likely to be a result of personal flaws and shortcomings rather than impact of external factor. Yes, exactly. This is what the politically right are saying. Though racism might have some impact on way wealth is distributed, it has greater role to play in administration of right. No. They do not agree with anything about anything apart from an individual's personal feeling. They have neglected this institutionalized racism and everything. They just say that they are poor just because they couldn't earn more money. Right? The status quo of the society must not be challenged just for the sake of it. In fact, there should be an analysis of the root cause. No. How that would support the argument of the politically right? No. Wealth redistribution is merely a utopian concept as it does not take into account the hard work of the wealthy. This could be it. This supports the argument that one if you see is more specific. It tells you the exact reason, exact opinion of the politically right. So 4/1 is a better option and hence is my correct option. Question number 4. All of the following claims can be inferred from the passage except. Can be inferred except, which means that it cannot be inferred. It has been observed that the term class war can refer to multiple forms of conflict. Okay, so this can be inferred. Yes, it could refer to multiple forms of conflict, violent, non-violent conflict, even small resistance could be considered as class war. Revolution can at times cause tremendous shifts in the society's socio-economic sphere. Yes, it can. It is given in the passage. James Scott felt that labor process is often entirely in the hands of the employer. Yes, this too is given. Right? James Scott somewhere mentioned that these small acts, what did he call them? Small firearms or something like that. That could be a process. That could be a way of in labor and employees to get the power from the hand of the employer. So this is also given. Leftists believe that all people should unite themselves to alleviate their position. Alleviate their position. Elevate, it could be. Alleviate, no. Right, so this is wrong. All these three are given, but the fourth disaligns with the passage. Hence fourth is my correct option. So that was the video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.